You are listening to episode 69. Your libido is more than your sex drive. It's your zeal for life and business. Unless we are comfortable with being uncomfortable, the fear of the unknown keeps many a good woman stuck. We stay in the same place in business or in our career. We do the same hobbies. We stick to the same daily routine. And we're often locked in a tailspin that we get rather used to. Therefore, we suck it up and accept that this is just the way it is. This great resignation, unrelated to employment status, it is the most stifling of all resignations. It is the true loss of libido that plagues many a perimenopausal woman. A woman's body and brain are built for variety. Our ever-evolving hormonic symphony wants to hear a little more from this hormone at one point in time and a little more from that hormone at another. In contrast to a man's body and brain, which has primarily a 24-hour hormonic symphony, a woman's body has a much longer cyclic nature. And truth be told, it's not just about our menstrual cycle. We retain that beautiful long cycle nature well past our menopause. A hormonic symphony is the unison achieved by all hormones at work inside of us. I use the term hormonic symphony because, similar to music, when each of the individual musicians are in sync, we hear beautiful sounds that take us on a joyful journey. Transferring this to our hormones, in which the musicians are the parts of the brain and the downstream glands that communicate via hormones, when these different hormonal instruments are in sync, they are beauty in motion. And when out of sync, they are a train wreck, honking and squeaking everywhere. Kind of like that 7th grade concert your kiddo's band put on. In fact, just like that. Now, the ebb and flow of what it is to live life through the human female body is truly beautiful. This beauty is present only when we work with her. We must stop trying to force her to live within the confines of a 24-hour cycle, an unfortunate foundation upon which almost all facets of a modern life are built. When we try to box her into a short cycle lifestyle, same thing every single day, she is bound to rebel. Now, one way in which she rebels is by tanking your libido. Now, for the record, your libido is way more than just your sex drive. It is your zeal for life. My colleague Abby Marsh and I will be discussing how you can uncover what really stokes your internal spark in Crisis to Quest, which is our end-of-the-year fireside chat and workshop series. Details and tickets can be found in the description notes below. Now, too many women to count have confided in me that when they see loss of libido on a questionnaire, they roll their eyes. They do this because, as they share in some variation or another, they just don't enjoy sex anymore, if they ever did in the first place. And they really don't care much about it. It is literally the last thing on their list. Now, they collapse libido with sex. I get it, because I used to do the same. But libido is so much more than sex, though it does include all things sexuality, from our sex drive to the acts that we think of when we see the word sex. Now, let's get ourselves on the same page before we dive deeper into what will be an uncomfortable conversation for some. And those uncomfortable with being uncomfortable when it comes to the sex talk may not want to proceed. Now, I am all for talking about the things we just don't talk about, and this conversation is smack dab in the middle of that continuum. It'll be PG, but it won't be puritanical, nor will it be prudish. It is going to be 100% real and straightforward. Now, the concept of libido is unique to humans. Our libido is the culmination of our zeal for life, our attraction to the pleasurable, and that electricity on which our vitality runs. Now, you could also call it that sense of aliveness felt when we're fully present in the moment. We are electricity embodied, and we are walking, talking chemical reactions. Every single thing happening within requires an electrical zing along with a chemical zang. Though I made up the terms zing and zang in this context, you could equate them to the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, the light and the darkness. Any duality will do. The chemical and the electrical aspects of us are interdependent, and as such, without one, there is no other. When they are out of balance, there will be way too much or way too little of what we seek. Our libido is where the intricate dance between the chemical and the electrical gains its tempo, its cadence, and its mojo. That mojo is by far the most important part, in my opinion. The mojo is the bond between the chemical and the electrical as they dance. It keeps their steps in sync. During perimenopause, our body and brain have to find their equilibrium again. During our reproductive years, estrogen took care of the mojo and the libido for the most part. Estrogen makes us want to couple, to make babies, to nurture all the things, and to put everyone else's needs before our own, so we are appealing to others. In this phase of life, estradiol is the primary estrogen in play. Now, this is a very blanket explanation, but it hits the main point I'm trying to make here. Estrogen is often referred to as simply estrogen, but it's important to know that not all estrogen molecules are created equal. In fact, there are 3 variations of estrogen, and they are each quite unique in how they show up for us. When we enter the perimenopause phase of life, estradiol gears up for one last wild ride. Think of it like a baby or bust quest. We can either hit our sexual peak or plummet into the depths of a vivaciousness void we've not known before. There is somewhat of a gray zone, but not much of one. The women I have known report a weighting to one side or the other for the most part. Think of this as our libido in action. Depending on how our hormonic symphony is tuned before we enter perimenopause, we may have a smooth transition, or it could be just this side of hell. As noted earlier, our hormonic symphony is the unison achieved by all the hormones at work inside of us. This includes estrogen, all 3 variations, progesterone, testosterone, adrenaline, cortisol, and insulin. They each bring their own rhythm to the orchestration. Now, there are other hormones involved, but these are the gals that are doing the heavy lifting. My research points to the adrenals on the physical side and past trauma on the emotional side of the equilibrium equation as drivers for how we experience life during these transformative years. As for the spiritual side of this conversation, that is fed by our mindset, which is the lens through which we filter our experiences and our role in how each experience transpires before, during, and after it occurs. Our libidos take a hit at every bend in the road of life, and the switchbacks intensify during midlife, as does our stress. First of all, most of us are so overextended we don't know if we're coming or going. We say yes all too often to keep in line with our role as the putter of all others first. We plaster a smile on our face because God forbid if we don't look like we're happy all the dang time. And to add fuel to this dumpster fire, we are eating stuff passed off as food that is anything but, and washing it down with alcohol. But it's just wine. And a slippery slope. Ask me how I know. The proverbial cherry on top, we rarely, if ever, get a moment to reflect, let alone a moment to sit with our thoughts and feelings as a kind of check-in with our own selves. We're essentially on autopilot, which is no way to live. Another way to phrase it is that we're numb. We don't feel the bad nor the good. We're in this middle zone of complacency, a middle zone that is becoming narrower and narrower as we approach menopause. Menopause is the great reckoning, also known as the I no longer give a flip stage of life. Watch out for this one. When done well, it is liberating. When done poorly, it is dangerous, and a source for many a woman blowing up her life instead of dismantling the ticking time bomb that's been swept under that fabulous throw rug for far too long. The dismantling is the unraveling. More often than not, the vast majority of our to-do list items are anything but enjoyable. We procrastinate, we bitch, we moan, and we often find ourselves in a doctor's office asking if there's anything we can take to make that which pains us go away. Sure, here, try this. More deflection, more covering over, more lipstick on the pig. Now, if your let's get it on has gotten up and gone, Look to building all facets of your libido. Breathe life into your inner creatrix. Allow your physical prowess to reconnect with her strength. Recall back to when you enjoyed being in action. Whether the action was through a sport, through walking, yoga, art, miming, whatever it was, get more into your body and stop living in your head so much. Present, not rehashing the past. Get some dirt under your fingernails in the garden. Join a Tai Chi class. Grab some girlfriends and head to a painting studio. Try Pilates. Go to a salsa class. Dancing the salsa is a great way to connect to all facets of your libido. Heck, go to one of those axe throwing places if that gets you moving. It's super fun, by the way. Just do something with that amazing body of yours. She has inner creativity and strength just waiting to be tapped into. Now, when we're coupled, our partners often don't know what hit them when perimenopause comes on scene. I mean, we don't even know what's happening ourselves. So how can they possibly know what's unfolding for us? As we say in the South, bless his heart, or hers. We can't possibly know the outcome of our unraveling. That's part of the mystery only experience can reveal. The better prepared the two of you are as you navigate the perimenopausal waters, the better you'll sail through it together. Your unraveling affects your partner, true. But, and that's a big but, you are not responsible for how they handle it. That's on them. So be open with your feelings and allow your partner to be open with theirs as well. Listen to understand, not to respond. Couples counseling can be a great way to connect again, or for the first time, really. Too often, the estradiol haze had us caught up in baby-making mode, and we neglected the other million facets of what makes us the unique person we are at our core. Ask your counselor about their experience counseling women in all phases of their menopause. If they and ha or stumble on their words, choose someone else. Don't assume that if that counselor is a woman, she'll understand menopause better than a man. A man is fully capable of understanding the process and bringing to it empathy while holding space for you and your partner. You don't have to blow up your life in midlife like too many of us do. It can be a beautiful transition throughout the menopause continuum when we approach it holistically, like we do in the Unraveling Together co-working community. Community details can be found in the show notes below. Until next time, take good care of yourself and each other. Thank you for joining me on the Unraveling Together podcast. I'd love to turn this thing we've got into a dialogue. Follow me on LinkedIn at Dr. Sam Graber, where we can have conversations about all things midlife, perimenopause, and finding meaning through it all. If you want a deeper dive into exploring your midlife experience, consider joining the Unraveling Together community of rebellious midlife women. It is there that we roll up our sleeves and do the work. Unraveling Together is a resource hub, roadmap, and online coaching community curated by yours truly. We are navigating this time called midlife together, for we truly believe we are stronger together. And when unravelers are in need of an assist, they have all of us there alongside them.